Our next speaker is George Beard with Portland State University. He's the guy who shepherds Electric Avenue here. He helped make this whole area happen, and I'd like to welcome him up here to address you. Thank you. George Beard.
Thanks very much. I want to welcome you to Portland State University and to Electric Avenue, and I need to correct Pat ever so slightly. It is true that I had a small hand in helping conceive and launch this, but this could not have been done certainly by me, for anyone who knows me, but even by Portland State University. This required a rather extraordinary partnership between Portland State University, Portland General Electric, who's our strategic partner in a number of initiatives, and also the city of Portland. So we're really proud of this. We launched this venue on August 16th, and we've received more attention and interest in this than you can know. And in large measure, some of the lessons that we have learned have been extremely useful and will help us make some changes and adaptations that will make life easier for you and all those who follow you, who are pioneers and innovators in the movement toward or the adoption of electric vehicles. Here are the comments I want to make to you, if you'll be patient with me for maybe 3 or 4 minutes. The first comment has to do with a little bit of history about Portland, and I want to ask the audience, who among you may have been living here about 30 years ago? Just raise your hand so I get an idea. Well, that's good. Those are all the honored, almost all the honored people who have gray hair like I do, so I salute you. But the reason I mention that is because we are sitting right next to not an artifact, but one of the great tributes to planning and public policy determination, the 6th Avenue Transit Mall and the existence of the light rail train. Here's the argument I'm going to make to you. We undertook a commitment to transportation electrification 30 years ago when when Mayor Neil Goldschmidt and the Oregon congressional delegation helped reprogram monies from the Mount Hood Freeway to make a commitment and to take a risk on traveling on electrons rather than on carbon. And for those of you who were here, you may remember that there was a very robust debate about that, whether it was good, whether it was wise, whether it was economical, whether or not it would work. And it was by the courage and the determination of Mayor Goldschmidt and other people whose names I can't recite to you fully here today, but it ended up leading to a difference maker. And it didn't happen simply because we committed the money and we built the infrastructure and we tried the technology. It worked because it added value and provided choices to people who live here and work here. And I would argue to you that it took perhaps 30 years to build out enough of the network and allow people enough access so they could make mobility choices that included traveling on the light rail train and later on the electric streetcar, which we certainly did not invent, but we certainly did rediscover. And then even with the aerial tram, which is another electric vehicle device that has been a game changer despite all the controversy around it. Now, why do I tell you that? Not to give you a history lesson, but to put in context 2 major points. One is that we've been electrifying transportation with relatively high success and good results since about the early 1980s. And I would argue that we are better off for it today than had that not happened. We are better off as a city in Portland than many other cities that don't have these choices. So whether you like it or not, I can report to you that something on the neighborhood of 150,000 boardings, as they're called, occur every day because people choose to travel on the rails rather than on our freeways and our downtown streets, and that's a good thing. Why is that important to us today, at this moment when we celebrate your leadership in electric vehicles in general and electric passenger vehicles in particular? Well, here's why. We live in a world, I was just reading in the Eugene Register Guard today, the population of our planet is projected to grow by early next year to 7 billion people, 7,000 million people living on the globe. And for the first time in history, just recently, half of them now live in cities. So how we move in cities today and in the years to come is extremely important. And I want to ask you and challenge you with a rhetorical question. Do you think that we can get by in the future with more people living in cities, massively more people? In my lifetime, by the way, that number, that population growth number is projected to go to over 9 billion people. That's how rapidly it's sloping up. Do you believe for a minute that we can get by with a 20th century model that's based on internal combustion engines and oil as the fuel source? And I'll ask you to answer, do you believe we can get by with that, or we need something else? Can I get a witness? Of course, that's why we're here. So it takes the courage of people exactly like yourselves who are willing to help define and risk a different future for us than to simply presume that the past is prologue and we can go on as we always have, merrily hoping that we won't get caught. One other reminder in all this, and this isn't a negative day, this is a positive day to salute you, but if we've learned nothing else, even though in many respects we in the Portland, Oregon area have done some things pretty well, we've made some good choices, as a nation we are not less dependent on oil, we're more dependent. We are worse off, we are more vulnerable. So I tell you that because you already know it, but I want to salute you for the leadership. I want to challenge you with the fact that the progress that we will make will be measured not in terms of weeks or months or even a few years, but it may take a generation or a generation and a half, and it is our urgent moment today to make sure that our children and all who succeed us can look back and salute unknown people and faceless individuals, not like yourselves, who took the risk and helped define a different future for ourselves, and we were better for it. And so on National, I want to make sure I get this right, this is National Plug-in Day, right? And this is the Portland version. I want to not only thank OEVA and all the other organizations and individuals who are here, but our friends around the country who are doing the exact same thing, giving attention and elevation to the important work that you're doing. On behalf of our partner, Portland General Electric, and our partner, the City of Portland, welcome to Portland State, welcome to Electric Avenue, and we stand ready to stand with you with the important work ahead. Thanks so very much.